Hey everybody, welcome to the Rise or Die podcast. This is yours truly, Stephen M. Lowisz, for episode 65, One Step Back, Two Forward. It's been a couple days since I've done a podcast. Actually, in fact, it's been more like a week. And this is supposed to be a daily podcast, and that kind of pisses me off. It pisses off, I'm sure, some of you guys. I get it. I 100% get it. But at the end of the day, this is the conclusion that I came to as I was struggling with, do I keep doing this podcast or do I not? And it wasn't supported by the fact that I was traveling and had a lot of shit going on. But it was the conclusion that I came to was essentially sometimes you got to take one step back and two forward. Let me give you an example. I've been doing this podcast, 64 episodes prior to this. And this is my second run at a podcast. I actually had like 20 or so episodes of another podcast, deleted it all, and then started it back again. Hence this one. And it's a lot better this time around. Today, so last week, as you guys already know, I fired one of my clients. Not just any client though. It was actually my biggest client of them all. It was about 35-40% of my revenue. And I fired him. Today, I had to let someone go. Someone that I really respect as a person, but financially it just wasn't making any sense. It wasn't working out. And it sucks. It was something that I was wrestling with all weekend. And now I'm in a situation where I have more work than my small team and I can handle, but I'm not in the financial situation to add more to my team, but we still need to grow. We need to grow so that we can actually add more to our team and scale. So it's a catch-22 no matter how you look at it. And the reason that I made some of these moves, firing a client, laying off one of my guys, taking a week off the podcast, so on and so forth, was that I needed to take one step backwards to go two forward. I needed to retract slightly. I needed to redo some things. I needed to edit some of the decisions that I made so that I can course correct and launch forward. And sometimes that's what we all have to do in our lives. I mean, at some point in time, sometimes it just doesn't make sense, but we need to actually take a half step backwards. Maybe that's breaking up with a girlfriend. Maybe that's quitting a job. Maybe that's firing a client, laying off someone on your team. Maybe it's taking a week off from the gym so that you can recover. You've been pushing too hard. And I'm all about doing the work. DTFW, do the fucking work. I'm all about, rising every day, otherwise you're dying. I hold true to that without fail. But what I'm going to have you consider is that sometimes a step backward, it doesn't mean that you're not doing the work. I've worked my ass off the last week, even though you haven't heard from me. Sometimes you need to redo some of the decisions that you've made. If you're constantly evolving and rising, you're a different person today than you were last Monday, than you were a week ago. You're a different person certainly today compared to 90 days ago. So if you made a decision 90 days ago, how do you know that that serves you today? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's one of the things that you need to take care of. Maybe you followed a certain diet when you were 100 pounds overweight, but now it's not serving you. And you need to actually take a step back off your diet and let it go. And do something new. Things have to change if we want... We have to change if we want changed results. And sometimes that means doing something really stupid or really crazy and actually taking a step back, like firing a client, firing someone on your team, taking a week off a podcast, taking a week off the gym, which I didn't take quite a week off, but it was pretty damn close. All in all, if we're going to keep rising, sometimes we have to let go of commitments. Sometimes we have to let go of the things keeping us down. And it sounds counterintuitive. I'm huge into overcommitting and basically just saying yes to everything. But after a certain point, things don't serve you, and you need to let it go. You need to let commitments go. You need to let people go. You need to let ideas, concepts in the box that you're in, you need to let them all go. You need to let clients that are a pain in the ass go at after a certain point. So where across body being balance in business, do you need to take a step back to go two forward? What do you need to let go of in your life that will help you rise over the next 90 days? And then maybe you need to evaluate and let something go again. But we all have something that's holding us back. Maybe it's your attitude towards food. You eat for comfort like I've done for so long, rather than eating for fuel. Maybe you need to let go of someone or a client. I've said it a couple times now. What do you need to let go of in your life that will help you actually take two steps forward? It's kind of a hard, shitty question, but it's one that we all need to ask ourselves from time to time. That's what I have for you today for episode 65. You can bet your ass that I'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, April 3rd. You're going to hear from me tomorrow for episode 66. No more days off. I'm back at it. There's no question. This is a daily fucking podcast. The end. No more breaks. No more step backwards in regards to the podcast. The podcast is here to stay, and I want your feedback. So we're going to change a couple things up. One, email me any questions that you have at steven@invictus.co, invictus.co. Number two, as always, share this podcast with someone that you want more for out of their life, someone that needs a little kick in the ass every day like you get from me. And then, of course, number three, subscribe to some of our exclusive content at riseordiepodcast.com. Talk to you tomorrow for episode 66.